Good afternoon, wonderful humans, and welcome to the From Little Things, Big Things Grow webinar, a guide to getting your idea off the ground. My name is Scott, and I'm really excited to be working with you this afternoon as your lead facilitator and as the moderator of this fabulous masterclass, where we're going to be looking at how you, as young people, can bring your businesses, bring your ideas, and bring your innovations to life in your local community. Now, before we begin, I just wanted to start by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the lands on which we gather all across the country and extend those respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. Now, as mentioned, my name's Scott. I'm going to be your lead facilitator this afternoon and the moderator of some of the discussions happening as part of this webinar. I'm 23 years old and I'm the CEO and founder of BOP Industries, an Australia-based education company on a mission to inspire the next generation of young innovators. As part of my role, I have the pleasure of working with some amazing young people across the country and around the world, helping them bring their ideas to life. And the webinar this afternoon is no exception to that. I'm really excited to be introducing you to all of the amazing speakers we have joining us this afternoon and helping you as you go on your journey to bring your businesses and your ideas to life and make an impact in your local community. So welcome to the masterclass. Now, you might be wondering what we're actually up to this afternoon. From Big Things, Little Things Grow. Well, the masterclass this afternoon has been designed to show you how you can bring your idea to life as a young person, quickly and with limited resources. Now, we've got an action-packed hour planned for you guys, and we're going to be starting by hearing some stories from young people from Western Australia that have brought their ideas to life, as they talk about how they did that, the opportunities they've accessed, and the advice they have for young people wanting to do the same. From there, we're going to be gaining some practical tips on how you can access opportunities through a bit of a Q&A. So there's lots of opportunities to ask plenty of questions. So make sure to pop any questions you have in the chat. We're then going to be learning about the concept of a minimum viable product, looking at how can we get our idea up and off the ground quickly and easily, and then developing an idea of what our MVP, our minimum viable product, might look like. So we've got a lot of ground to cover, but the great thing is this webinar is being recorded. So if there's something that you missed, if you want to go back and listen to a particular speaker or a particular part again, you can definitely do that. This recording will be sent out to all of you as soon as the webinar finishes. So make sure to come back and watch it back in your own time. Now, this webinar is happening as part of the Next Gen Awards. The Next Gen Awards are a national awards program happening in Australia designed to showcase the next generation of top young talent. Open to all Australian primary and high school students as well as their educators, we have 6 award categories this year, with the Young Innovator of the Year Award, the Young Entrepreneur of the Year, the Young Leader of the Year, the Gen Z of the Year, the Gen Alpha of the Year, and the Innovative Educator of the Year. Now, nominations are open at the moment, but they close on the 21st of August, which is just 11 days away. And we've seen hundreds of nominations streaming in from across the country. So if you think you're a young innovator, a young entrepreneur, or a young leader, make sure to head to bopindustries.com/nextgen to submit your nomination now. We'd love to see you featured, and we have some amazing prizes on offer for our winners. And also too, you might have seen, for those of you that have been nominating, that have been checking the Next Gen website, we've also been announcing who some of our judges are for these award categories. Now, we're designing some curated judging panels for each award category with judges that are experts in their field. And we have some really amazing judges that will be reviewing all of these applications, selecting our finalists, and announcing our winners. We have judges joining us from organizations like Microsoft, like Deloitte, and like Student Edge, as well as AWS. We also have the Queensland Chief Entrepreneur joining us on our judging panel as well, which is really exciting, and changemakers from across the country. So make sure to head to the Next Gen website to see who some of our judges are, because they're incredibly excited to be involved and always looking for opportunities to help our finalists and our winners continue on their journey and continue building their skills. Now, this webinar is being made possible thanks to the Fogarty Foundation, who are a state sponsor for Western Australia. Now, the Fogarty Foundation, they're getting involved in NextGen to help showcase the next generation of young innovators, young leaders, and young entrepreneurs in Western Australia specifically. And as part of their involvement, they've put on this masterclass to help other young West Australians bring their ideas to life. So I'm going to hand over to Caitlin from the Fogarty Foundation to welcome you all to the webinar this afternoon and to share a bit more about what the Fogarty Foundation does. Welcome, Caitlin.
Thanks so much, Scott. It's so great to be here. We're really excited to partner with Bop Industries this year and to connect with these wonderful awards. So the Fogarty Foundation was founded in 2000 by two very innovative, inspiring people who happen to be my parents. I've been fortunate to be a trustee of the foundation since I was 18, and through my teaching and commerce studies, and then I've been working fully involved over the last few years. The foundation works mainly in Western Australia, but across the sectors of education. So schools, universities, government, private and philanthropic groups, anyone whose vision aligns with ours. Our vision is to enrich talent and to support future change makers and creators. The Fogarty Foundation looks for opportunities that have a wide, long-lasting impact, like the ripples in our logo. We do this through developing and enriching talent in individuals and organisations, and also creating cohorts of high achievers and high potential young people. Next slide, thanks. So we have three major focus areas, the first being access to excellence in education, so ensuring a high quality education and opportunities for all. We do this through supporting and inspiring educators mostly. And one of our key initiatives that we do this through is the Fogarty Advanced School Improvement Program, which we started over 10 years ago now and is working in over 120 schools across Western Australia. So this school improvement program is strategic planning and leadership development for school leaders working in really challenging communities, so supporting them to execute on a clear strategic direction plan that really impacts student outcomes. We also have a focus on building the future skills that young people need now and going into the future. So this includes the key competencies like problem solving and collaboration, but also where there's gaps in curriculum like innovation, entrepreneurship, technology, and digital skills. Our third focus area is excellence in endeavour, which we mean by leveraging individuals' talents and passions and launching them to greater opportunities. So such as through the UWA Fogarty Scholars Program, which is one of the most prestigious scholarship programs in the country, supporting not just high academic achievers, but also they've excelled in other areas like leadership, art, sport, community, and we sort of work with them to develop their talents and see them as future leaders in their fields and in the community. We also really love partnering with organisations such as Bop Industries, and you're all here to allow people to explore their talents and further horizons. So the next slide is just a few of our current partners, but all of our partners are based sort of in education, but a lot of them have a real focus on excellence and innovation and doing things better and differently, and really looking towards the future. So again, we're working with the wonderful Bop team to provide even more opportunities for passionate, driven young change makers like yourself. And that really is the work that we love to do, and it is such a privilege to do so. So thank you, and all the best on the big things that you have to come. The next slide is just a few contact details. We'd love to stay connected with you all on your journey. So give us a follow or a like, or feel free to reach out personally on LinkedIn and connect. It would be great to watch what you all have to offer. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Caitlin. And thank you again to the Fogarty Foundation for helping making this webinar possible. I can't wait to see all of the amazing entries we get from the young West Australians tuning in tonight, but also to working on their projects and working on their nominations now. Thank you very much. Awesome. So that's a little bit about the Fogarty Foundation. Now, you can help support the Next Gen Awards by getting involved with the Fogarty Foundation and all of the amazing opportunities they have for young West Australians. I know there's been a link dropped in the comments section, so make sure to go there and find out a little bit more about the Fogarty Foundation and the work they do. So, to get us started, we have three amazing young changemakers that are here to join us this afternoon and share a bit about their stories, bringing ideas to life, bringing initiatives to life, and really standing out from the crowd and getting a head start on their chosen career pathway early. Now, these three young changemakers are all young West Australians, and they've been able to bring these ideas to life in Western Australia. So, they're going to be giving a local context and a local view as they share how they got ideas up and off the ground. So, for all of you watching, I highly recommend asking lots of questions for them. You can type any questions you like in the comments section, and we will have time to ask these panelists afterwards. But also to take plenty of notes about the journeys that these panelists have been on and these young people have been on, and the opportunities they accessed along the way. Now, our first panelist and young person here to talk to you this afternoon is Kai Lovell. Now, I've been following Kai on LinkedIn for quite a while now, and he's a bit of a LinkedIn ninja. He does a fabulous job of accessing opportunities, and I know, Kai, your resume is most impressive than many adults that I see already,
Thanks,
as is your LinkedIn game as well. So I'm really excited to have you joining us this afternoon and sharing a bit about your story as a young professional that's been able to access opportunities and really bring ideas to life. I'll hand over to you now.
Thanks very much, Scott, and really epic to be here, everyone. I'll give you a virtual wave that I can't see you all. Lovely to be here. So, look, I'm going to take the next sort of 5 odd minutes and just give you a bit of a flyover of, I guess, 2 parts of my journey. The first one is some stories of entrepreneurship while I was at school and a bit of my journey post-school as well. So I'll set the scene by saying I am 19. I'm still very young and potentially only a couple of years along from you guys in age. So I can really relate to a lot of the moments and feelings and challenges perhaps you're all feeling. So I think that's useful context. I'm not a fully worked out young professional. I'm still sort of early in the piece as well. So if I take you back to sort of my time in primary school and high school, I had a lot of fun mucking around with a variety of businesses. Where did that interest come from? I'm not too sure. My dad has sort of run businesses all his life, although I wasn't around for most of it. I'm sure he's probably imparted some entrepreneurial spirit. But if you have an interest like that, if you have a sort of budding entrepreneurial interest, I'd say take the opportunity. The risk is so low when you're young. You don't have a mortgage, you don't have kids to worry about yourself. You're pretty free. My first business was selling t-shirts. I thought it would be interesting to start up a Shopify store. And I think I realized I was more interested in the technology involved with setting up a business than actually selling the t-shirts and designing them myself. And I only sold half a dozen t-shirts by the end of that time. So a business failure, but very, very valuable early lessons. The second business I gave a crack in high school was tutoring. So I was doing a little bit of tutoring, some younger primary school students, kind of in year 9 and year 10. And a buddy and I, Sean Johnson, he and I paired up to create a small little tutoring agency. And we trained up a bunch of our mates who we thought were doing well in class and threw them at some young kids and said, hey, you can run some lessons and we'll take $10 out of your $35 charge each lesson. And it was great fun. We had 30 tutors, 30 clients and about 10 tutors by the end of that business and learn a hell of a lot. I think the fun of that was really doing it with a mate. I remember there was a moment where we were sitting, I grew up in the hills and we were sitting at the bus stop outside of Dome Kalamunda on a Thursday night. We got kicked out because they had closed and we were just so excited by what we were working on at the time. And then sort of where it landed sort of towards the end of school is I followed that interest in the technology side of things and sort of started building websites. I built a website for the church in my town up the road. I built a website for Notre Dame Student Association and that sort of morphed down to sort of do what I do for work, which is working in technology startups in product building. But that sort of journey of entrepreneurship in school was magic. And sort of, I think probably my favorite memory from the whole thing was the teachers here may not love me saying this, but I remember in year 10, I was in a maths class and was doing payroll for this tutoring agency and paying our tutors on a Friday afternoon and not doing my math work. So yeah, that was just sort of standing out to me as one of those moments of that was really bizarre when I think back, but it was a lot of fun. And then sort of what happened sort of post-school for me, to sort of round this out, I ended up moving schools at the end of year 10. And I did that to find some better course selection. And I think that's something worth considering. There's a lot of value in staying in the same place, but if they haven't got the courses that you're interested in, I'd look around and see what else is available. I found that really valuable to move, and I was interested in doing philosophy and ethics and media and design, and sort of found courses elsewhere. I was then really lucky. I was working with Idea Academy, which are a Perth-based sort of alternatives pathway for year 11 and 12. I worked with them early on and was able to sort of get their help in arranging an early offer to study business at Curtin University. And actually meant that I could leave school at the end of year 11 I didn't graduate. I didn't sort of speed that process up. I wasn't that smart, but I was able to leave school at the end of year 11 and sort of jump into some tertiary studies, which was really incredible. And that was on portfolio. That was not on ATAR. I wasn't even doing ATAR at the time. That was purely on my ability to sort of showcase that work I'd done in my business ventures through high school. And then where it sort of left off, and I guess the rest of that journey has been, I was a couple of months into that university degree, and I actually got an opportunity to work in a startup here in Perth, and I took that opportunity. So 2 months into that degree, I decided to defer it, and have since decided to spend the last now 2 to 3 years working in startups, getting a lot of sort of real world experience. And if I wanted to be a doctor or an engineer, some of those sort of pathways, university really makes sense. But I'm lucky that in technology, it's not often a requirement, and sort of for the businesses that I work in, it hasn't been. So yeah, I'll sort of pause there. But that's sort of been my journey to date. Some elements of entrepreneurship in high school, and then a pretty different to most journey out of school, and a lot of moments I'm super grateful for. So yeah, hopefully there were some moments that which are helpful.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kai. Give me a virtual clap. No, that was fantastic. And I think definitely a story that a lot of young people would resonate with just trying a lot of different things and seeing what you like and what you don't like. Can you tell me, just quickly, for anyone watching, make sure to drop any questions in the comment section for Kai. We will have some time for some questions after. But Kai, while our audience is putting some questions in the comment section for you, can you tell me, getting a startup up and off the ground, any top softwares, like top 3 startup softwares that you use that you found really handy getting an idea up and running?
Yeah, absolutely, Scott. I'm a software nerd, and I love geeking out on this stuff. A couple that come to mind. The first one is a really great tool called Airtable. So if you can imagine, it's kind of like one of those boring old spreadsheets, but you can do lots of cool stuff on top of it. You can build, a sort of way to track sales. You can basically do whatever you want with it. It's a very flexible platform. We used that back when I was doing the tutoring agency. I would also, for a personal side of things, what I found really helpful starting businesses and sort of going into my career is having a place where I can capture my thoughts throughout the day. And some people default to things like Apple Notes. There's obviously tools out there like Notion. Some people like emailing themselves, and I think those are all perfectly fine. But for me, I use a tool called reflect.app, and it's like Apple Notes, but it lets you link different notes together, and it's a really, really powerful tool for thought. And I think as a young founder, budding entrepreneur, or sort of certainly a young professional, you have lots of thoughts throughout the day, and I just go in there, and each day I just jot them into that daily note, and then I can go back and think through my previous learnings. So even for an event like today, I take my notes in Reflect. So yeah, a couple of tips.
I love it. I am someone that has, I think, about 1,400 notes pages in my notes app. So I am definitely going to be downloading Reflect after this tonight. Thank you. And just a second question for you as well. Thoughts on finding a co-founder versus being a solo founder? I know that's often a question a lot of young entrepreneurs have. Do you have any advice for young people that are sort of sitting there saying, look, should I be finding a co-founder, or do I do this by myself?
Yeah, great question, Scott. I mean, the statistics say that I think it's around 70%. This is a study that was done by Y Combinator, which is a startup accelerator out of the US. out of their top 100 companies of all time that went through as startups, I think 70% had co-founders, and maybe another 10 or 15% had 3 or more co-founders. So while it's certainly possible to succeed as a single founder, solo founder, I think if not just for having more fun, sometimes it's great to have a co-founder. I think there's a lot of benefits to sort of sharing the ambiguity load when you're sort of starting something, having someone else there, and yeah, you can talk to your friends, you can talk to your parents, your teachers about it, but having someone kind of shoulder to shoulder as a co-founder, there's something about that which is really magical, I think, particularly if you're starting out.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you so much, Kai. And everyone, Kai is going to be coming back for a couple of questions after our next 2 presenters. So if you do have any questions for him, make sure to pop them in the comments section and we'll be able to ask him a little bit later. Thanks so much, Kai. Now, our next speaker is the fabulous Lexi McDonald. Now, I had the pleasure of meeting Lexi last year, and her energy, her enthusiasm, and her passion just left me absolutely fangirling. And I was so excited when she said she was available to join us this afternoon. Now, Lexi is the founder of Her Help and has an amazing story bringing an app to life. And I know for so many young people, they're always thinking about what websites, what apps could we start? And here we have a young West Australian who's done exactly that. So I'm going to hand over to Lexi to share a little bit about how she brought Her Help to life and her story along the way. Please make Lexi feel very, very welcome.
Oh, thank you, Scott. Thank you so much for having me. Hello, everyone. It's weird that I can't see you, but it's so nice to be here. Yes, as you said, Lexi, I thought in my slide, or wrong way, I thought I'd include a photo with me and Kai because I've known Kai for ages. I think he's amazing. So I thought, good follow-up. But I am the founder of an app called Her Help. And I guess my journey was probably a lot different to Kai. So I started in my bedroom at 17 through year 12. I had no idea what I wanted to do when I finished school. I feel like so many people around me had like clear visions, clear paths forward, and I had no idea. But what I did know is I was bullied growing up and felt really lost. I had no idea where people found community. I had no idea how you become an adult, like who teaches you all these things. I had no idea about, nutrition, finance, taxes, relationships, like who teaches you anything? I had no idea. So I was like, you know what? This is a problem. I think I can create a solution for this. I had no idea what I was doing, but I hopped onto YouTube and searched up how to make an app. I thought an app would be the best way to go about it because it's always on your phone. It's there whenever you need it. And I was like, perfect, let's do this. Turns out a lot of code is involved in that. Kai could have probably told me that if I knew him at the start. Turns out I'm not a techie person. I don't understand the world of code at all, but turns out app requires a lot of code. But within 6 months of having absolutely no idea what I was doing, I managed to launch an app in my room. And I thought I'd show you the 2 little side by side. So the first Her Help, where the her and the help are like separate words, they're not anymore. You can see that was the first day. Like that was the day I YouTubed how to make an app and created that little prototype in my room. And then 6 months after that, app on the other side of the screen was the app that I launched. And I had no expectation for this app at all, but by the afternoon, I was on a radio interview, and within 3 months, I was speaking in front of 400 women in Perth, which was crazy because I'm from Bunbury. So little ideas, little things, they can really skyrocket, and I had no idea. And it was so cool. And within that 6 months that followed, I had over 10,000 downloads on the app, and people were messaging me left, right, and center telling me that they wouldn't be alive without the platform, which is just crazy. And I saw the need for that. So I went, cool, I need to make this better. I need to make it the dream app. So I sat down, designed an app that I wanted it to be, and went screen by screen, button by button, and sent it to an app development company in Perth. And I got quoted $2.2 million for the app that I wanted to produce, which was crazy. I had no idea. I was 18 at this time and had no idea what I was doing. But I guess fast forward to where we are today, Her Help is exactly what I want it to be. I have over 100 professionals on the app. I have over 100,000 users, and I get to help people every day. Like that's my job. And in my dream little platform that I've been able to create for myself with anything that anyone could ever want, which hopefully, which is so cool. And yeah, it's taken me to some really cool places, which I'm so grateful for. So even if maybe you don't have that business idea to start with, if you can think about challenges or things that you're going through, that if you feel that passion, that can make the best businesses, because that'll get you through the hard times, and that will make you want to push forward. Because there's been so many times I just was like, this is enough, I need to stop. $2.2 million, I can never get through it. But when you have a passion, you make it work. There you go. That was as quick as I could make it.
Oh my gosh, Lexi, that was amazing, and so much squished into such a short time. I have my mind is buzzing with questions for you about that story.
You take a deep breath. Yes.
Now, for anyone that is watching that has any questions for Lexi, again, make sure to put them in the comments, because when we come back together for our questions after our next speaker, you'll be able to ask all of those questions to Lexi, to Kai, and also to our next speaker, Lucas. But Lexi, I've got a couple of questions for you while our attendees put their questions in the chat. Now, you mentioned going to YouTube and trying to learn on YouTube. I know for a lot of us, we're always going to different places. I know I love TikTok learning. I learned how to fix a door the other day on TikTok. Tell me, where do you go to learn things? Like, if you're wanting to learn a new skill or like refresh some of your skills, where are some of your go-to places?
Yes, I love this. We're so lucky to live in an age where you can just Google anything, right? Like, I have so many random questions throughout the day. And why not use those resources that we go like, should I put chicken salt in this? Or like, what should I, like, we have the randomest things. My Google's so strange. So why don't we use those tools that we use every day for things that actually matter to us? I think when it comes to, a business or something that we actually care about, it can be really scary to just Google it.
Absolutely. And you're also a founder that's done an amazing job building their personal brand as well as building their business. Can you tell us a bit about, what it's been like building your personal brand, and any advice you have for other young people that are sort of wanting to put themselves out there as well as building a great business?
Yes, I love that. I think that's so often overlooked, is with your brand itself, having that storytelling and that element of why you're doing behind it. That's what usually sells things. Like, there's one thing to have a logo, but it's another thing to understand someone's why and who that person is. And I never really intended to be like, yes, I'm making a personal brand alongside this. It was very much just her help. But then people were really interested in that personal story as well. So being able to grow the two side by side has been, really powerful.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, Lexi. And for everyone watching, as mentioned, Lexi's going to be back in just a minute to answer some of your questions. So make sure to head to the comments on YouTube Live, type in your questions, and we're reading those out and asking Lexi in just a minute. Thanks so much, Lexi.
Amazing. Thank you.
Now, our next speaker, let me just quickly jump through the slides here. Our next speaker is... Awesome. There we go. Now, our next speaker is the fabulous Lucas Lane, who is the founder of Glossy Boys. Now, Lucas is one of the youngest entrepreneurs I've had the pleasure of meeting and working with, and he has an amazing story of getting Glossy Boys up and off the ground relatively recently as well, Lucas. You've had a lot going on over the past 12 months, but you've really done a fantastic job of building a business, building your personal brand, and building your entrepreneurial skills at the same time, particularly making a physical product, which I know, again, a lot of young people like, look, I want to sell a physical product and a business that does that. So really excited to have you joining us this afternoon, sharing a bit more about your story and how you've built Glossy Boys. So I'll hand over to you, Lucas.
Thanks. And just before I start, I'm just going to say thanks so much for having me. I love everyone here. Absolutely amazing. But I'm just going to get straight into what I started. So I started Glossy Boys, a nail polish brand made for guys. And this is the product. This is the Glossy Boys pen. And when I was 12 years old, I walked into a store and I just wanted some nail polish. But I felt uncomfortable going in and buying nail polish, and it didn't feel right and it didn't fit me. So I wanted something of my own. So I decided to create my own product. And I thought creating a business would be pretty hard, but it's not as hard as you think if you have the right people and also have the right skills and know what to do. Well, this is Glossy Boys, and I'm going to tell you how you can run your own business. So if we go to the next slide, what is gap in the market? So really, before anything, you need to have a look at what's your gap in the market, or what even is a gap in the market. So for me, telling about my story, I had a gap in the market, which was guys wearing nail polish. I was a guy, I wanted to wear nail polish. And there was a market that no one was paying attention to, which was selling nail polish for guys. And I decided to just I guess, go into that and start my own thing. And there's a lot of other sort of gaps in the market, which you can read up there, and also a whole bunch of other things. So just creating a new innovative product for a market that hasn't been touched. So I reached out to people and tried to find something for them that they could have. And I was the market, so I decided to start it myself. Next slide. And so I had a community, basically, men's nail polish, or really just an idea. But I didn't know what to do, what to solve. Well, I went on Answer the Public, which is this website that you can just search up on Google, which grabs a whole bunch of searches that people have searched up, and of hows, whys, whens, wills, of everything. So if you look down there, there's how to make nail polish dry faster, how to make nail polish last. I had to think about what people wanted and what did everyone want in nail polish. And I had my own experience of going out and skateboarding and having bad looking nail polish, or even just waiting and taking forever to dry the nail polish. It was so bad. So I just decided to start my own thing, and I found other people had that problems too. So why not start something? So what to do first in starting being in the early parts of the business. And so it's okay to have a problem and you want to solve it before you even have a product. So think of an experience that you had that could be better. As I said, I felt uncomfortable buying nail polish and I needed something better. Make sure this has customers. This is what's called the target market. So make sure that you're finding something that people actually experience. Because if you have a product or really anything and no one knows anything about it and no one wants it, then who's going to buy it? So that means research what the customer is all about. It's easier to understand something you know. So why not create a product that you love and check there's enough of yous out there? Because the easiest way to make a product is to make a product for you. Because you're going to have a hard time selling something if it's not for you. So that's why Glossy Boys is fairly successful, because I created something that I wanted and I knew what other guys wanted, because I'm that type of person. Think of the customer, how they would think, act, where they're shopping, and what makes your experience better. And with Glossy Boys, I wanted the experience to be comfortable, so everyone who was buying nail polish just felt welcome. They can do it online because that's the easiest way. And I had to think of a lot of other stuff like brand archetype, target market, and customer journey. There's a whole bunch of things that you'll learn later on. And just some sort of other sort of tips that you can do when you first starting your business for free, which is absolutely amazing. Everyone likes tips for free. So check your website and social media handles. So any sort of e-commerce business, like what I have, you always got to have social medias. So that's TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, LinkedIn, literally everything. And you need to check if it's for you. So check your name, website, social handles, namechecker.com, and check if you can use that trading name, register your social handles, Google search for your idea, because there might be something, maybe someone's already done it. And also, what about if there's a flaw in their product? Think of how you can be better. And that's what's really, really important. And here, when you can see Burger King and Hungry Jack's, so check this. Did you know in Australia, Burger King didn't check on their name and bought the master franchise for millions, but they had to rebuild a whole new brand. So in Australia, when they were getting Burger King into Australia, that I'm pretty sure my mom was telling me the story. There was this one little place in like Adelaide, which was called Burger King in Australia because it was trademarked in Australia. So you got to make sure that your brand is unique, has a different name, and that's also recognizable as well. And also with the logos, it needs to be recognizable because it's basically is Burger King, so they changed it to Hungry Jack's. And also imagine you've already started have a product. So write down how they would find your product, write down how they want them to feel, write down who you think they are and what will make them choose you. And remember, it's really important. And people want to help you. And thing is, starting a business, especially at a young age, can be pretty hard because people may put you down. People might not respect you. That's why you need to talk to the people who do. So I went to my mum and my dad and everyone that I knew who could help me. And mum was is my co-founder, and she helped me do this. She's the most important person in this company, and I couldn't have done it without her. Couldn't have done it without her. And just people want to help you, mom, dad, teachers, whoever. Just start a list and it turns out into a plan. A plan turns out into a product, and you can start small and for free. Just remember, you can do it, and just go to the people who can help you. And with some all sort of tech stuff, some important tech stuff. So this is our tech stack. So all the important things that you're going to need to do. We're not, I guess, exactly a tech business, but tech is super important to market and also even run a business. So Shopify is the most important app that you can use. That's how you sell, how you basically do a lot of things. So we use also PayPal so people can pay for stuff, Lucky Orange, so when we're seeing on the website, what people click on, also your social medias, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest, your editing softwares, Video Leap, and even make sure you're not doing incorrect spelling Grammarly if you want that. But tech stacks are really important. That's where you can see all your analytics. And it does look kind of confusing, but me being 14 years old, I've only been running this business for about 2 years, and even I can understand it. So it's not as hard as you think. And just, I think I might have to do this a little bit quickly, but what does my day look like? Being an entrepreneur, I have to do the business every single day. So me being the face of the brand, I have to paint my nails, make sure I got the latest colors, and then they are neat, ensure my nails and my clothes are ready for social media and content. Because I always have to be on basically TV, I have to be posting for social media every single day. Work with suppliers, emails and messages. So our suppliers who actually get the product, we need to work with them and we need to have a nice relationship. Chat to the suppliers and check if orders are on time, negotiate places and quantities. Post and interact, content, so you can see that content is a hungry machine. Post twice a day because social media and posting solves a lot of things. And getting sales into the door, that's how you get sales into the door. That solves a lot of problems. So post and interact with your customers so you can have a positive relationship. Also, about 2 to 3 times a week, I have to pack orders. So that means packing your orders, whoever orders the nail polish. There's the nail polish in the background, even have product all around me. I have to pack that. Also, product development, finding new ways to sell and just new products. We got some pretty cool, exciting stuff, and it's going to be pretty rad. So there's going to be some cool, exciting stuff, and that's product development. That's pretty fun. Also, probably another fun thing, skate and content create. So emails and messages, replying to everyone, talking to people, and also skateboarding. Because skateboarding is part of the brand. Got to keep up with my tricks to further market my business because I use skateboarding, even music, and just other sort of things to further market the business. It's really important. What does my day look like? The cool stuff, even cooler stuff. Travel for work, absolutely amazing. I've been doing loads of cool stuff. I've met super cool people. And running a business can be hard and stressful at times, but remember where you're going. You're going to go really, really far. Trust me. And we've only been running for about a year and a bit, and we can keep going and being further on, and maybe it'll take me to, I don't know, America, Russia, all over the world. I don't know where. It can take me anywhere. TV appearances, TV studios are really cool. Going anywhere and just like getting people to see me is really, really cool. Also, radio shows. I love talking on the radio. And even going on stuff like this, talking to people like you, answering your questions. It's really cool. Also, some more fun stuff. Gonna be a little bit quick. I go to entrepreneur school 2 days a week. It's called Idea Academy. You've got to check them out. They're really cool. And that's how I get to run my business and also learn. Because it's pretty important. I had to leave my normal school because business was getting in the way. And I left it for good, and look where it's gotten me. School of Rock, that's just another thing where I can enhance my music skills and just have fun just banging on drums, because that's fun. Online school, because I actually need to learn some stuff. So online school is really important as well. So make sure you stay in school. And these are just some handles. So make sure you registered online. Most important, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, website. Twitch is actually pretty important if you're that. But I'd just like to say thank you, everyone. And if you have any questions, you can just put them down in the live, and I'll be super happy to answer them. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Lucas, and a virtual round of applause. That was fantastic. And I really loved how you stepped us through what your day looks like. I think for so many of us, before we start a business or bring an idea to life, we're sort of like, what does the day in the life of an entrepreneur, an innovator, a leader look like? But I really loved how you stepped us through that. And I like the balance that you've got there, a balance of like working on your business and working on school and everything like that, but also working on your interests like skateboarding and playing music as well. A quick question for you. What experience have you had finding mentors? Now, I know they always say mentors are really important, and you said you have a great support network. Any advice for young people looking to find mentors?
Well, first off, starting out, finding mentors, it can be someone like your mum or your dad. It doesn't have to be that big of a person. And if you keep talking to people and networking, so that's going to events that you're going to be invited to and talking to people, just talk to people and aspiring and smart people, and those people will be your mentors. And mentors can be really important, just teaching you how to run your business, how to keep to date with all this stuff, and teach you a lot of things. Also, YouTube is a pretty good mentor.
Absolutely. I love a good YouTube tutorial. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to bring Lexi and Kai back. I hope you guys are ready. Hey, Lexi and Kai. Now, we've had some awesome questions streaming in the comments section throughout all of your presentations. I've loved having a quick skim through. And I believe the fabulous Maddie from BOP, who's behind the scenes managing tech for us this evening, has been having a look. Maddie, do you want to chuck a question up on the screen for one of our fabulous young people? Oh, awesome. Could we have the name of the company in Perth that supported you in year 11? Was that potentially a question for Kai, I think it might have been?
Yeah, this was Idea Academy, which Lucas also mentioned. So we've got a few folks in the room who are fans of Nicole and Rebecca and the team at Idea Academy. Back when I was involved with them, they were just starting out, and they were sort of doing some advisory and consulting stuff for students like myself on things like getting into university pathways. But now, I mean, I'm sure Lucas can share a bit more detail, but they're doing like a full-blown alternative pathway for year 11 and 12.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Idea is sorry to talk over you, but Idea is really, really good for young people, especially me, because I needed to go somewhere where I could run my business, and Idea was a perfect thing. And they're going to be expanding a lot more. Since I'm pretty young, I'm in their pathways group, and it's really good.
Fabulous. And I'm sure we can drop a link in the comments section for Idea Academy as well. Next question, Maddie, what have we got? How did you get the idea of what content to put into your app? Lexi, that's a question for you.
Yes. So the start of it came from like your own personal experience, like what could you need, and then watching it grow. So listening to feedback, so it started as I was in high school, so it was advice that I needed through high school, and then through that now we've got like fertility coaches and doctors and women health experts and psychologists and personal trainers and everything hopefully that anyone could need, because everyone's mental health story is so different. So it was very much just listening to not only what I wanted but what the community wanted as well, and adjusting stuff to suit that.
I love that. I think it's so important to listen to your users and really understand what they're looking for and give them that. Do we have another question, Mads? Oh, perfect. Great. Ben says a great product, Lucas. Who helped you with the product design and any advice for inventing something new? That's a really great question, Ben.
Well, with product design, I just thought of what I wanted and also talking to people and networking. So with the experiences, I wanted something that was long lasting, that I could go out and skate and have something cool. I wanted it to also be really quick to paint on, so something that will dry quickly, and just something also easy to hold. That's why we came up with the pen, because it was just easy to hold for guys with bigger hands, and also kind of better than the little nail polish bottles. But my mum has a friend who works with a whole bunch of people in China who make products and design products. So that was really, really helpful. So just talk to the people who have, who have connections in other places and in different things. And inventing something new, you just got to be really creative. And I'm sure everyone here is going to be creative. It's probably why you're here, because you want to be creative and starting something new, and just see what fits you and design something. Just use your mind.
I love that. That's fantastic, Lucas. And I love what you mentioned as well. Just talk about your idea, because you never know what connections you might have. They always say that 6 degrees of separation. You never know who knows someone that can help out. Maddie, do we have another question? Oh, a question for all presenters from Kat. What is the best support you've received? That's a fantastic question. Kai, we might start with you and we'll go around and everyone can have a quick answer for this one.
Yeah, so quickly, when I was, I think I was 13, I was kicking off this t-shirt business and was just like, had so many things going through my head. And one thing I'd really recommend is, I know, Lucas, you mentioned it, like, if you reach out to someone and ask for something, you know, there is this like magic power of being a young person, which you won't have forever, which is people will do nearly anything for you. And I think using it in the right way is really powerful. So I reached out to a branding agency on their website, like chatbot, and I was like, hey, like, I've got this idea, like, any chance I could come in and chat to you about it? And they let me come in on a Sunday, and they just, you know, the founders just had a chat with me, and they whiteboarded it out, and that was really cool. And they said, hey, like, do you want to come in during the week? And they actually just let me come and hang in their studio during the week with their team there. And I think Kat, just being a fly on the wall in some of those environments was really magic to see how they actually operated as a business and hearing some of those conversations. So I just love being in the room. That was great support.
That's fantastic. And I think a great one, Kai, as well, for any adults listening that might not be young people themselves, is just giving those young people the shadowing opportunity. Lexi, how about yourself? Best support you've received?
Oh, I love that. Kai, that's amazing. I love that so much. It is. It's use that young person thing as a superpower. Like, there's
Totally.
the people that you want to get to, like the people that you admire, they've been in your position too, and they very much admire that drive and that determination. So important. Yeah, don't be scared to send emails to people that you like admire. For me, I didn't really tell anyone that I was making an app. I'm from Bunbury, so I'm 2 hours away from anything. I knew no one that made an app, didn't understand the world at all. So truthfully, my best support was just like access to the internet, and just knowing that as much as you can rely on physical people, you can also just do it as well. Like, you know, you can Google your problems, you can YouTube things, and, you know, you've got access to thousands of people that have been in that situation and have made it happen. So yeah, that's my
Awesome. And Lucas, how about yourself?
Well, best support I've received is probably from the people closest to me, my mum and dad, and also even my friends, being confident in saying, yes, you can do this. The best support that you can receive is people believing you. That's what I feel. And having my mum say, yes, let's do this, is probably the best thing. And even when times are tough, we still just get onto it. And her being my mum and also my co-founder can be a little bit stressful, but we know how to balance that and how to grow together and just learn. So best support I've ever received is probably from my mum.
That's fantastic. I love that. I think that support network is so key, especially when you're a young person that's sort of going against the grain, doing something that most young people don't do. You've got to have those people in your corner that can really help you out when you're feeling down, but also celebrate with you when you have a win. Now, my final question for each of you, because I am conscious of time and making sure you guys get on with your afternoons, would just be, is there a book, is there a podcast, a blog post, a EDM that you're a part of that has really awesome information out there for a young person that is wanting to learn, wanting to access opportunities, wanting to sort of get a head start? Is there some sort of a resource that you would shamelessly plug or recommend checking out for more information or to keep up to date or get inspiration? Happy for anyone to go first on this one.
I mean, I'll go. Even though this name's been mentioned a lot, like for me, Ideas Academy has really, really helped me, and it's just helped me really run my business and have another like field of and teachers and perspectives of how you can start a business. And Nicole and Rebecca and everyone working at Ideas has really taught me a lot. Some stuff that other people could never do. So I would say talk to Nicole and Rebecca. Go follow them on Instagram and TikTok because they're really, really good. They provide a lot of good information and really good teachers. So Ideas is pretty great.
That's awesome. A glowing review from a student as well. Those are sometimes hard to come by. So fantastic to hear, Lucas. Lexi, how about yourself?
Oh, I love that. I remember Lucas telling me about this a few weeks ago, and I was like, I am so jealous that I didn't like that there's nothing like that here. It's amazing. I've never been, but it sounds incredible. It sounds like something I would have loved. For me, my biggest resources is just like, I love a podcast of people that have kind of been through similar situations. So I love a CEO podcast. I love a founder podcast, just to kind of all the challenges you're going through to be like, okay, like these big businesses, these big, like they have the same struggles I do. So yeah, I listen to a lot of different people, which keeps me knowing that I'm on the right track.
That's awesome. Is there a particular podcast that you are listening to at the moment or that you've loved in the past?
Ooh, I love the Diary of a CEO.
Oh, Diary of a CEO
podcast. Yes, it's like 2-hour long episodes, and they like really dive in instead of like just an overview. You get to really know their journey. So I love that.
Fantastic. Adding that to my listen list.
Yeah.
And Kai, how about yourself? Is there, some sort of a resource that you go to for inspiration, education, or support?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Diary of the CEO as well, Lexi. I'll share two if I can. The first one is another podcast called How I Built This. I will admit it's gotten a little bit crap the last 6 months to a year. But it's been going because they got bought by Amazon, and they've got all commercial now. But go and listen to scroll right to the bottom and go and listen to like the first couple of years of episodes. I think the guy who hosts it is an excellent interviewer, and what they've done is they've been able to capture the starting journey of so many businesses we all know today. Amazing stories, but it goes right back to the beginning, and that was always the stuff I feel like you don't hear about. Like, what was day one like of starting Spotify or starting Shake Shack or Nike? Like, those stories are sort of covered there, so that's great. And then for anyone interested in like technology and startups, which I appreciate might not be everyone here, but Paul Graham is a really, really sort of almost the godfather of a lot of sort of modern startup teaching. So if that's an area that you're interested in, he's got a great website with some amazing blog posts on how to do great work, how to think about, picking ideas for businesses and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, a couple of recommendations. I'll drop them in the comments.
Oh, brilliant. Thanks so much, Kai. And thank you to all of our fabulous young people that have joined, to Lucas, Lexi, and to Kai, for taking the time to jump on this afternoon, share a bit about your story and some of your tips and tricks for other young people here in Western Australia looking to bring their ideas to life. So I know we're all giving you a virtual round of applause from across the country. And we'll be sending out some links as well to your LinkedIn profiles, Instagrams, everything like that, if people do want to find some more information as well. But thank you for joining us and have a wonderful afternoon. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you, everyone.
Alrighty, so as our panelists jump off, what we're going to do is we're going to jump on to a bit of a masterclass before we finish up this afternoon, having a look at how you guys can build your minimum viable products and get your ideas up and off the ground. I know if you're like me, you're probably sitting there after listening to those fabulous presenters, just bubbling with inspiration, saying, right, I've got to run out, I've got to start something, I'm starting something tonight. We're going to have an all-nighter, we're going to bring it to life. But where do you start? And for us, what we're going to do this afternoon is look at the concept of a minimum viable product, or an MVP. Now, an MVP is essentially the most basic thing you can do to bring your idea to life. And an MVP is a term that's used quite often as innovators, entrepreneurs work to bring ideas to life. And it essentially breaks your idea down and says, what's the most simple thing I can do that would get my idea up and off the ground? Now, if we look at the concept of a car, the goal of a car is to get you from A to B quicker than walking. Now, the MVP, the minimum viable product of a car, isn't a wheel. A wheel's not really going to be a lot of help for you. As a human, standing on that, it's not going to get you very far. MVP of a car, though, might be a skateboard. Now, a car can be quite expensive and quite complicated to make, but something like a skateboard, it's a bit cheaper, it's a bit easier, and it still helps get people from A to B a bit faster than walking. So what you might do is you might build a skateboard. Then you might sell that skateboard, get a bit of money or get some feedback, and then you might create a scooter. Then go from a scooter to a bike to a motorbike, and then a motorbike finally to the car. And particularly for us as young people, we have these big ideas, but it can be really difficult to get them up and off the ground if we have limited time, limited resources, and limited money. So I always encourage you to think about, what is your minimum viable product? What is the skateboard to your car? Now, when we talk about MVPs, we always have to think about what their features might be, their needs versus their wants. Now, sometimes when we have an idea in our head, we want it to be just right. We want it to be perfect, and we want it to have all of the features we would love to see. But again, that can be quite expensive and take a fair bit of time. So we've got to think about, what are the most basic things our user needs, and what are some of the things they want? So what are our non-negotiables? If we were looking at a pencil case, for example, the non-negotiables, the needs of a pencil case, is that it can hold materials, it can open and close and fit into a bag. Now, at the most basic level, the MVP of a pencil case might be like a plastic sandwich bag, like a Glad wrap bag. It's not very pretty, it's not got all the bells and whistles, but it can hold materials, open and close, and fit into a bag. And as a young person with an MVP, we might start with a little Ziploc sandwich bag. We might take it out, get some feedback, get some excitement, start selling a couple, and eventually start to add in some of those wants, which might be redesigning it with the use of natural colors and materials, sustainable materials, or a more attractive zip. So I always encourage you to think about, what are your needs for your idea, and what are the wants, and how can you start by creating something simple that fulfills the needs before you then go on to satisfy the wants. And with an MVP, the thing to remember is that what you create is never going to be it forever. We're always iterating, we're always designing, we're always building. And for this, we use the concept of a 3-step process, where we build something, we measure it, we get it out, we give it to users, we tell people about it, and then we get some feedback and we learn. We get feedback on what works, what doesn't, how can we make this better, and does this actually satisfy your needs, and what are some of the wants you'd like to have? And any innovator, any leader, any entrepreneur is always going through this 3-step process of building something, getting it out there and measuring it, and then learning and making some tweaks, building it again, getting it out there, and so on and so forth. So I encourage you to think about that 3-step process. And I wanted to remind you of this quote by Reid Hoffman, who's the co-founder of LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn, for those that don't have a LinkedIn profile, is essentially like the Facebook, but for work. And he says that if you're not embarrassed by the first version of your product, you've launched too late. I know even for myself as the founder of Bop, I look back on early versions of the Bop website, our Bop uniform, and I go, oh my gosh, that was absolutely disgusting. I can't believe anyone wanted anything to do with us. But they did, and that's how we got to where we are now. So as far as how to build your MVP and what that might look like, a few potential ideas. Now, not one of these is better than the other. You've got to think about your context, your idea, and your skill set, and find the one that works best for you. You might go with something that is basic functionality. And what you can see on the screen is the basic version of Spotify. Now, it's not super pretty. It doesn't have all these amazing features, but it gets the job done. Now, people are happy. It satisfies those needs, and it's functional at the end of the day. So thinking about that basic functionality. You might do a one-off event. A great example of this is the world's biggest garage sale, an Aussie company that started just doing a garage sale. And they said, look, we're going to make a big garage sale. We're going to donate our profits to charity, and we're going to help you support the circular economy. This went so well that they did another one. and then another and another. And now they employ a team of full-time staff members running world's biggest garage sales all across the country and around the world, just from a one-off event. You might start with a social media account. A great example of this is Michelle Phan, who is a famous YouTube influencer in the beauty industry. She started her YouTube account and different TikTok accounts, Instagram accounts, everything like that, just because she had a love of makeup, and she was showcasing different makeup tutorials, different beauty tips, and she was able to leverage that brand to launch her own makeup company. So someone that said, look, I'm not even going to start with a product, I'm just going to start with the brand, start with a social media platform and grow it from there. Crowdfunding is another great option, jumping onto a platform like Kickstarter or GoFundMe and telling people about your idea. What you can see on the screen is the concept for a game called Exploding Kittens, which is essentially a card game for people that love explosions and kittens. It's pretty self-explanatory. They put this up on Kickstarter with a short promo video talking about what the game would look like, and they gave people the opportunity to donate to crowdfund, which was either donating money or buying products before they were even built at a discounted price. And as you can see from the screen, they did pretty well. They raised $747,000 to make their game before they'd even produced a single pack of cards. You might want to look at a landing page, creating a basic website, like a one-page website, just telling people about your idea that you can start to send to people so they can learn more about you, learn more about your idea, scroll through the landing page where you're talking about your concept as if it's a reality. And then at the bottom, having an option for them to sign up or subscribe to find out more. This is a great way to build subscribers really quickly and have a really solid base of customers before you invest in building your platform or building your idea out. And finally, you might consider going to local markets. These are two Aussie brands, Zimmerman and Sass & Bide, that started at local markets. And I believe it was just announced today that Zimmerman's been sold for over $1 billion as a company that was started at local markets in Sydney. So a really great way to just get out to a local market. It normally doesn't cost more than $20 or $30. Start selling your product and really chat to your customers face-to-face without having to invest into a physical store. So I always encourage you to think about which one of these works best for you. Are you going to go with a really basic version of your idea? Are you going to do a one-off event and grow it from there? Are you going to hit up the local markets and get a stall? Are you going to create a social media account, maybe a simple one-page website, or go down the crowdfunding route? There's no one of these options that's better than the others, but you've got to think about what's the best for you. And as you can see on the screen, if you do have an MVP you want to tell people about, make sure to pop it in the chat now. We'd love to see what sort of ideas you're working on. And if you've got a website or a social media account you want to get some followers of, drop it in the chat and we'll share it on the screen. Now, when it comes to testing your MVP, so you've built it, how do you actually get it out there and tell people about it? Well, we always recommend considering something called A/B testing. A/B testing is essentially a method of comparing two versions of the same thing to see which one performs better. Now, you might be A/B testing landing pages, two versions of the same website to see which people prefer, two MVPs of an A/B test of two MVPs to see which minimum viable product people prefer, pricing models, or your marketing. And it's something that I always recommend getting out as far and wide as possible and getting as many opinions as possible and doing a bit of research. Now, when it comes to A/B testing, you can do it in a number of ways. You might do it through conducting interviews, sitting down with a potential customer or a mentor and showing them the different versions of your minimum viable product you've created and saying, what do you prefer? What do you like about this one? What don't you like about this one? How can we make it better? You might do a survey using something like SurveyMonkey, Google Forms, or Teams Forms as well, and sending out a survey, asking people questions. You might just run a series of Facebook or Instagram ads, or do a series of Facebook or Instagram posts and see which one performs better. You could do a focus group and get a selection of people sitting around and having a group conversation. Or you could actually just start selling two different versions of the same product and see which one sells better. So what does this look like in action? You might be wanting to do an A/B test to test your features. Say you're selling candles and you're saying, look, I've created these candles, they're awesome, but what flavors and what scents should I be going with? Well, what you might do is you might do an A/B test, create a vanilla and cinnamon candle and a lavender and sage candle, and you'll sell both of them to see which one's the most popular. And you might say, right, I'm going to make 10 of each scent of candle and see which one gets the most sales. So which one do people buy straight off the bat? What customers got more excited about their candle and what was the feedback from customers? And what customers came back? If you found that you sold out of all your lavender and sage candles in a day, but no one came back to buy from you again, that might not be the product you want to continue selling. You might say, well, look, actually our vanilla and cinnamon customers came back and bought multiple candles from us. So that's the feature that we're going to roll with. You might also want to do MVP tests on your marketing. Now, I know when you're getting an idea off the ground or building a business, creating the brand can be something you'd labor over, getting just the right logo, just the right business name. So what you might do is you might create 2 different brands selling the same product and create social media accounts for both, or do some Facebook ads for both, and test the color schemes, the languages, the layout of the brand, and different font choices as well, and see which account gets more followers and which gets more interaction. You might want to do A/B tests of your landing page or your website to see which layout does the best. Are your customers more focused on really big, beautiful pictures, or do they want lots of information? Creating 2 versions of the same web page with different layouts and seeing which ones performs better. Now, when it comes to your MVP, I always encourage you to do little experiments. Now, I was a bit of a science nerd back in school. I loved all my STEM subjects, and I love running experiments. Now, what I recommend doing is when you decide that you do want to do some A/B tests, so testing 2 versions of the same thing with your minimum viable product, I recommend you think of a hypothesis. So you might say, right, I'm going to sell 2 types of candles, vanilla and cinnamon and sage and lavender. And you might say, look, my hypothesis is that I think the vanilla and cinnamon candles are going to sell faster. That's my belief. And write it down and make sure to come back to that. Then what you want to do is you want to have some constants. So things that don't change between the 2 different versions of your minimum viable product. So if we're selling our candles, we might say our candles are going to be the same price, made with the same packaging, and they're going to have the same amount of wax in them. So all of that is the same. But then you normally have 1, maybe 2 variables. And in this case, our variable, the thing that changes between the 2, might be the scent. So saying, look, everything is going to be identical, except 1 is going to be vanilla and cinnamon, 1 is going to be lavender and sage. That's the only thing that changes. Then what you want to have is success criteria. So what does success look like for this experiment? Now, success for you might be selling out of all of the candles. Whichever scent sells out the first, that is success for you. That's the one you're going to go with. Or you might say, well, actually, no, success for me is customers coming back again and again and again, but setting that success criteria. Then what you do is once you have your hypothesis, you know your constants, you know your variables, and you know your success criteria, go out there and start testing and measure those results. So say, right, I'm going to give myself a month. I'm going to sell as many candles as I can. And at the end of that month, I'm going to come back and see which one performed better. And that's going to be my MVP experiment. So for you guys, I encourage you to think about what are you going to do to get your idea up and off the ground quickly, but how can you run little experiments to see what are the most popular options for your MVP? So I am watching the time and I know you've all got busy afternoons to get to. So we are going to bring the program to a close, and that's a wrap. So we've had an action-packed afternoon this afternoon on our webinar as we looked at how we can bring our ideas to life as a young person. We heard from 3 amazing young people, Lexi, Kai, and Lucas, as they shared their stories of bringing ideas to life here in WA. We gained some practical tips on how to access opportunities from them and how to bring our ideas to life. Then we did a little bit looking at the concept of minimum viable products and looked at what our minimum viable product might look like. Now, a massive thank you to the Fogarty Foundation, who have been able to make this webinar possible for young West Australians looking to bring their ideas to life. The Fogarty Foundation has so many amazing opportunities for young West Australians, and you can find out more by heading to www.fogartyfoundation.org.au. You can support us by supporting them. And before we wrap up, a big reminder that the applications are open for Next Gen Awards, but nominations do close on the 21st of August, which is just 11 days away. Now, the Next Gen Awards, we've got some amazing prizes lined up. We have work experience opportunities, internship and mentoring opportunities. We have physical prizes, including some really cool tech for some young people as well. And we have 6 awesome award categories up for grabs: our Young Innovator of the Year, our Young Entrepreneur of the Year, our Young Leader of the Year, our Gen Z of the Year, Gen Alpha of the Year, and Innovative Educator of the Year. So if you're a young person or an educator working on something exciting, make sure to head to bopindustries.com/nextgen and submit your nomination. You can nominate yourself, you can nominate someone else, and you can nominate multiple times. You've got 11 days to get those nominations in, and then from there, we're going to start our judging and announcing our finalists. So I hope I can see all of your nominations very, very shortly. But that brings us to the end of the webinar this afternoon. Thank you all for tuning in, and I can't wait to see your little things grow big as you get your ideas up and off the ground. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you all very, very soon.